My final question for you, Katie, on my journey from that old parenting paradigm to the new one, I've come full circle, and I've realized that I started this journey trying to figure out the right tools and techniques to parent and to guide my kids. And what I found was that I will be the best parent when I learn how to truly love myself.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk about that because I think as parents, we don't have that connection. And a lot of us, because we've been raised in that control, fear-based parenting paradigm, while we do have a level of self-love, it doesn't get to the level of unconditional love for ourselves.
Yes.
How can we use the work to identify the areas that we need to grow? Because this was the hardest thing for me. Because if you asked me if I loved myself, I would say, of course I love myself. And it was difficult to figure out the specific areas, and it's a painful journey of where I needed to grow and where I needed to give myself more love.
Yes. So for me, it's every time I'm disrespecting, in this case, when we look at the family, every time I'm disrespecting a family member, my mind is off. So I cannot love myself under those conditions. I always love myself, but that we'll say disrespect, just to use a term there, overrides that respect. And it shows me what is in the way of self-respect, self-love. So when I do a worksheet on a situation with my child, let's say the homework, and I work through that worksheet and I turn it around and I begin to live what I find in the wants, needs, and shoulds, it just becomes natural. But when I do the work, then I love myself every time. That enlightenment shows up when I'm communicating with a family member. Every time. And I love myself. I don't even have to think it. I'm just oozing. And it's reciprocated. It's just, and we, even if my child were to say, Mom, I don't like you, my mind goes, well, how could he like me? If I believed what he was thinking and believing, I wouldn't like me either. How could he? But so I don't take on what he was believing as though it were mine. That's his. And if he were of right mind, if the world were of right mind, no one would be disconnected. But it's easier than that. If you are connected, the whole world's connected, because you wouldn't be able to perceive anything else. And that's when you've got it, because that's what's really going on. So self-love, for me, for example, I want him to listen to me when we look at the turnarounds after inquiry. I want me to listen to me in that situation. Isn't that what you really wanted? We weren't hearing ourselves. We were on automatic.
Yeah.
I want me to. So the next time I'm with my child, I'm listening more closely to me. I find myself listening more closely. And so it shuts down that rhetoric, that harsh rhetoric. And it doesn't just go, just shut down. It says, oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry for what I just said. Let's start over. It just becomes a gentle, gentle process. I want him to listen to me. Another turnaround. I don't want him to listen to me. I'm learning his internal and what he's thinking and believing, where he's troubled and where he's bothered. And I learned so much from listening to my child. It's like the thorn, the rose and thorn, like that thorn coming at me. So I'm connected. It's not all about me. I'm connected to my child's position. So in those moments, I love myself. So that is the practice of self-love. Again, it is living those turnarounds. So inquiry and turnarounds, and then just experiencing the difference in the way you see that child the next time they walk through the door, and everyone else. And when you look in the mirror, there's nothing you can do not to love what you see.